I can start now if you could. Hi, my name is Bridget Dennis, and I'm doing my project over Rembrandt. His full name was Rembrandt Harmensoen van Rijn. He was born July 15th, 1606 in what now is the Netherlands. He died October 4th, 1669 in the same city. He started training as an artist when he was very young at the age of 14. And all around he became a Dutch painter and etcher in the Dutch Golden Age, and that's actually a self-portrait of him. As an artist, he attended the University of Leiden to study painting. He was taught by mainly two individuals. The first individual was, he specialized in the underworld and paintings and fire, so that's really where he learned how to use light in his paintings, and over there on the board, the shading aspect. And then the other guy, he specialized in biblical or historical works, and he was also very into that sort of thing, so I think that maybe he learned those two styles from his two teachers. He's known for improving the use of light in his paintings. His art dealer, when he moved to Amsterdam when he was around 20, became Hendrik van Eulenburg. And there's been many speculations on how many paintings and sketches and drawings that he did over the years. But in the 1960s, there's a Rembrandt research project that they started, and it pretty much just researches his whole entire life. And what they found was he had around 300 paintings, 300 etchings, and possibly over 2,000 drawings. Okay, some types or themes of paintings. He did a lot of portraits, so portraits of his peers, self-portraits. He did many religious themed paintings, illustrations of scenes from the Bible, and allegorical or symbolic in some way, so he didn't paint just random things. They had some kind of meaning. And landscapes. So there's a picture of landscape, self-portrait, a naked lady on a bed, some other group, and another lady. Okay, as a teacher, he started very young as a teacher, only at 22, and he had around 50 total. There were many early young kids that found out about his unique style, his specialty in the use of light, and wanted to learn from him. And when the Rembrandt research project happened in the 1960s, they found hundreds and hundreds of self-portraits, and they originally thought that he painted all of them, but in reality, he had his students copy his own self-portraits, so just for practice and training. Okay, these are some of his works. The Abduction of Europa in 1632. This is oil on panel. He used mostly oil. And a quote here says, "This is a shining example of the Golden Age," which was the Dutch Golden Age. The Storm of the Sea of Galilee in 1633. This was also oil, and you can see the use of light and the shadowing he did, and the detail. The Night Watch, this is in 1642, and this is probably his most famous painting. Also oil, and it's currently on display in Amsterdam. The Mill, this was one of his landscapes in 1645, most likely oil. And this is currently in the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C. The Three Crosses, this is one of the etchings that he did, and it's a religious one, and it's in 1653. It's a scene from the Bible. This is one of his self-portraits in 1658. And a quote, "The calmest and grandest of all his portraits." So I decided to choose this one, but there are many. His downfall, after he produced The Night Watch, which was one of his most famous paintings, the next 10 years were sort of just downhill. He didn't produce many more works, and there is such thing as a Rembrandt myth, where his downfall could be caused from the death of his wife, and also the rejection of the night watch by those who commissioned it, but there were never any evidence, there was not any evidence to prove either one. And the last part, which I probably think's the most true out of all of them, is financial hardships. In 1656, he had to sell all his assets to prevent him from becoming bankrupt. So he sort of just ended up being a poor artist, but he still did paint. His personal life. When he moved to Amsterdam and met his art dealer, he also met the art dealer's cousin, Saskia, and that's actually a painting of her that he did. They had 4 children, but 3 out of the 4 died very early on. Once Saskia died, most likely of tuberculosis, the maid that was taking care of her while she was dying became Rembrandt's next lover, and they went on to have a child together. Lastly, there was no evidence that he belonged to any church, which I thought was sort of interesting, seeing as he did all of these religious paintings and etchings and everything, but he was never really affiliated. He's considered one of the greatest painters and printmakers in Europe. Very important in Dutch history. His contributions to art were mainly during the time of the Dutch Golden Age. And this is most likely his last painting in 1669, maybe the last 2 years that he was alive. The Return of the Prodigal Son. And that's all I have. Thank you.